Hello mushroom growers, how are you? I myself Apuru Kumar Singh, computer programmer and software developer. As you know, mushroom cultivation is my hobby and from this year I am taking it as business. I am doing mushroom cultivation from 2004. Now for this video, it is part 2 and last part about can we do mushroom cultivation in that place where I am living. Can mushroom spores harm you? Generally, mushroom spores will not harm you when you eat delicious edible mushrooms. You will often also eat spores that pass through your system without problems. The air we breathe also contains numerous small particles, including bacteria, dust, pollen, and fungal spores that are not usually an issue for most people. But inhaling mushroom spores does cause an allergic reaction in some people, although estimates suggest only a teeny percentage of the general population are allergic to fungal spores. In small amounts, mushroom spores are generally harmless, but repeated exposure to lots of spores is more dangerous and can cause inflammation and allergic symptoms. If you are a mushroom grower often exposed to large volumes of spores, it is advisable to wear a respirator, but it's not usually an issue for growers who have infrequent exposure. Some mushroom species produce more spores than others. Oyster and shiitake mushrooms are some of these, and it's best to harvest them before they release their spores. The ideal point of harvest varies from species to species, but generally it's best to harvest mushrooms when the caps begin to flatten out but the edges are still curled under. What is a mushroom spore print? A mushroom spore print is a pattern usually made on paper, foil, or glass. The pattern is produced by thousands of spores dropping straight down from a mushroom's spore-bearing surface in a draft-free spot. Researchers make mushroom spore prints on glass slides to study the spore under microscopes and learn more about them. Mycologists usually make mushroom spore prints on foil to harvest spores and grow new or interesting species. And some people make mushroom spores print on paper to create art. Every spore print is unique and beautiful but very fragile. You will need to take care when making your spore print, as even the slightest airflow will move the teeny spores and smudge the pattern. Here a photo is coming of mushroom spore print. What are mushroom spores used for? People generally use mushroom spores for three things. First, mushroom identification. When identifying mushrooms, spores play an important role as they have unique colors, shapes, and size. Many foragers use the color of a mature mushroom's gills, which is usually also the color of the spores, to help with identification. But it is sometimes best to take the mushroom home and make a mushroom spore print to see the exact color of the spores. This helps to a point, but several mushroom species have spores the same color. Often the only way to be 100% sure which mushroom species you have is to look at the spores under a microscope. Mushroom identification apps also help with identification, but never eat a mushroom unless you are 100% sure of its identity. Mushroom cultivation. You can have some fun and use mushroom spores to grow mushrooms at home with a spore syringe. A spore syringe is exactly what it sounds like and consists of a syringe containing spores suspended in sterilized water. It is usually used to inoculate sterilized grain to create grain spawn. Although interesting, growers' mushrooms from spores is unpredictable. There is no guarantee what you will get, as every time two spores fuse, they create a new strain with new characteristics. It also takes longer to grow mushrooms from spores, as you are starting right at the beginning of the mushroom's life cycle, and by adding more steps to the growing process you are increasing the chances of something going wrong along the way. Here a photo is coming with syringe and spores. Mushroom spore print art. Nature is full of beautiful patterns. Artists have used flowers and leaves to create art for centuries, and now they are also using mushroom spore prints to create decorative artworks. If you live in an area with lots of mushrooms, spore print art is a fun project to try at home, and you can experiment with different mushrooms and types of papers. Just be careful when handling unknown mushrooms, as they could be toxic. Always wear gloves and don't leave any wild mushrooms where children or pets can get to them. A mushroom spore print art photo is coming on your screen. Final thoughts. We still have a lot to learn about fungi and their spores, and scientists continually make new discoveries as they attempt to understand these remarkable organisms. But in this video, we learn some important information. In small amounts, fungal spores are not an issue for most people, but mushroom growers frequently exposed to lots of spores should wear a respirator to reduce the amount of spores they inhale. If you are a small scale home grower, you can avoid large quantities of spores by harvesting your mushrooms before the spores are released. And in the last, I know that it is a long video of 2 parts in English, but there is much information in all parts. Soon I will release its Hindi version in 2 parts. Please like my video and subscribe my YouTube channel Mushroom Kings for interesting information about mushroom. Thank you.